Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today it's a pleasure to request leave to introduce Bill 208 for the first reading. I'm very pleased Bill 208 is a recall act, a true accountability act. Recall is based on a very simple principle. Elected officials are not only accountable to voters on election day, but every day. Being elected does not generate an entitlement. It is a privilege that must be revocable if the voters are to be truly empowered. For 4 or 5 years is a long time for citizens to have to wait if their MLA suddenly promotes their own hidden agenda or acts in some way that dissolves the trust and the respect of the voters. This is even more than the case when a politician is not planning to run for office again. When this is the case, the threat of the election day becomes meaningless, and an MLA can accordingly misrepresent constituents to an unacceptable degree without fear of any consequences. Some no doubt have fear of an act like this bringing instability to government. To this I counter that it does not do so in many jurisdictions in North America in which proper recall provisions are in place. The threshold in this act is high enough that there will not be any frivolous attempts that will succeed in triggering an election. In this act, 33% of the eligible voters must sign a petition that clearly explains why the recall member is warranted. Canvassers are required to be residents of Alberta for 6 months and cannot be paid for their efforts. This helps to ensure that the recall effort will be a grassroots movement and not something paid for by a wealthy minority or interest groups outside of Alberta. The signatures must be collected within 60 days. This is about as short a window as one would expect a campaign like this to work, but ensures that the political uncertainty is minimized. In conclusion, this bill is about ensuring the people of Alberta are the ones holding the power, and when elected representatives no longer represent the people, they have a process that allows them to remove politicians with hidden agendas or are not putting the interests of the people first. Recall is the only 24/7 way to hold elected people accountable and in check. If we want people to be engaged in politics, then they must be empowered. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.